This Sunday's Gospel reading tells of Jesus' disciples going across the Sea of Galilee while he went up a mountain on his own to pray. And the disciples were caught up in a storm which lasted all night, and they were terrified. And then in the early night, they saw Jesus walking across the water. At Peter's suggestion, Jesus invited him to get out of the boat and walk across the water towards him. And all went well for a few moments. But when Peter noticed the strong wind, he became frightened and began to sink. Jesus walked on the water. Peter tried, but took his eyes off Jesus and was sinking. Now, I have to admit that my record of walking on water is not good. But I used to be in the Merchant Navy, and we used to say that the sea was not for getting into or swimming in, but for sailing ships on. And it might be that Jesus' disciples, many of whom were time-served fishermen, thought the same thing. So for Peter, who knew how dangerous the sea could be, even to think about getting out of the boat was far beyond what he would normally have been willing to contemplate. But this story is about faith. It's about faith during a storm, faith during difficult times. And we, globally, have been going through the storm of this pandemic over the last 6 months. And it's been a trying time for us all, faith challenging for many, and a time when some might question what God is up to. For us, it is a time when, more than ever, we need to keep our eyes firmly on Jesus as we live with the restrictions, the anxiety, and the uncertainty of COVID. Perhaps, like you, just when things seemed as if they might be getting a little better, I have been taken aback by the news of spikes in COVID cases, and then by the appalling explosion in Beirut, where in a moment hundreds lost their lives, thousands were injured, and hundreds of thousands were made homeless. And our prayers are with all who are affected. Hope in that moment seemed to evaporate. But then I remembered the comment from a survivor of another disaster who had lost everything. And he said this: I didn't know that Jesus was all I needed until Jesus was all I had. Now, you may not be called to walk on water this week, but keeping your eyes on Jesus might well be the best way of navigating this and every other storm.